So Hanebado is pretty cool. Its visuals are totally my aesthetic, and the animation on the badminton matches is so well choreographed that honestly the whole show could just be that and I'd be fine. But of course Hanebado isn't just cool animation, it's a goddamn sports anime, and that means, it's to be perfectly honest, I don't really know. The last time I was deep into a sports anime was The Prince of Tennis back when Toonami Jetstream was still a thing, so I'm more or less completely unfamiliar with the tropes and character archetypes associated with the genre. Suffice to say, this is all new enough to me that I can get behind it really easily. I really like Ayano and Nagisa, and I'm getting swept up in the simple drama of who will win this match. For all I know, this is the most cliché thing I've ever seen, but for my part, I'm not seeing anything horribly wrong with the characters or writing or anything, really. A little bit of the early drama I found to be a bit time-wasty, like, of course she's gonna start playing again, why are we pretending she's not? But aside from that, I really like it. That being said, this anime has made me feel things. Dark things. Things that I do not normally feel during a piece of fiction. Things like hate and anger. Yoda would be disappointed in me, but I can't deny my feelings. That is, after all, the true dark side. In this video, I'm going to explore these feelings of mine, but to do so, I'm going to have to talk spoilers for the first 6 episodes of the show, so you've been warned. First off, keep in mind that this isn't a review of the whole show. I'm making this video with the conceit that I have not yet watched all of it, and that later episodes might change my perception, except they won't, and I'ma tell you why! The feelings that have been stirring up inside me are so strong that literally nothing the show could do, even or especially making everything hunky-dory, could change them, and I want to explain these feelings thoroughly while they're still fresh. If I deem it necessary, I'll make a follow-up video once the show's over. For now, time to vent. Let's start by getting on the same page about Ayano. She's pretty good at badminton. And why is that? She practiced. A lot. We're not talking some magic talent here. This girl's been grinding away her skills at this sport almost since she could hold a racket. That level of dedication to something is pretty rare. Going that hard at something for so long can cause health issues, and Ayano is no exception. Physically, she's fit as a fiddle. I'm talking mentally. Ayano's obsession with badminton stems from her life circumstances and results in new issues. She was born the daughter of a woman who's basically the biggest badass in the world of badminton. Admiring and wanting to be like one's parents is only natural. Well, for some, I guess. But her mother being such a star put unnatural pressure on Ayano. Wanting to live up to the best means being the best, and being the best requires that absurd amount of dedication, and when aiming for the biggest goal there is, on top of always having the pressure of living up to that goal on top of you, one small mistake or misstep can be devastating. Ayano losing one game completely destroyed her, not simply because of the natural disappointment that comes from failure, but because she failed at something she had constructed her entire identity around. Badminton had been Ayano's life. She wanted to be the best and live up to her mother's expectations and legacy. Being the best means not losing, right? How could she be the daughter of the best if she lost? On her own, Ayano was completely incapable of reconciling that contradiction. That one moment of failure was when she needed her mother more than ever. And her mom up and left. Yeah, that can't be good for her psyche. Hello, darkness, my old friend. So now, not only does Ayano feel like an utter failure for failing to live up to both her own and her mother's expectations, and her perceived notion of the expectations of society, but she's under the impression that her mother has abandoned her because of that failure. Given that she's dedicated her entire life to this one pursuit, only for one slip-up in said pursuit to make her seemingly lose everything she cared about, what point was there in going on? Having had her own self-image completely destroyed and seeing herself as a failure who drove her own mother away through her failure, What fun could she possibly see in badminton? It was never just a game to her, it was a life. And she lost that life, so why bother? And then mom just goes and gets a whole new badminton daughter. That's salt in the wound right there. Of course, learning to love badminton again involves friendship and teamwork because this is anime, but along the way that failure is gonna haunt her. But that's neither here nor there. All of that was just context. Let's get on track with a simple question. To what or whom are my negative feelings aimed at? Answer, Ayano's mom, and to a lesser extent Connie, the new badminton daughter. I'll touch on Connie in a bit, but for now, if you can't already intuit my deep, seething hatred for Ayano's mom, let me try to clarify it. No way around it, no hyperbole. Ayano's mom straight up abandoned her. Maybe later episodes will clarify her intentions, but that literally doesn't matter. All that matters is Ayano's experiences and how they affected her. No matter the mom's intentions, from Ayano's perspective, her mom completely walked out of her life after she lost one match. And it's that event that's the source of all of Ayano's psychological issues. Sure, the unnatural pressure and Ayano building her life around one sport didn't help, but one loss didn't have to crush her either. If Ayano's mother had simply been there for her when she most needed her, then she could have more quickly recovered and straightened herself out. To clarify, I'm not saying that this is a plot hole or that this makes the mom a badly written character or any nonsense like that. I ain't cinema sins. This was a pivotal event in Ayano's life, after all, and we wouldn't have a story without it. What I'm saying is that this was what made me hate Ayano's mom and destroyed any sympathy I might have built up for her. As far as I'm concerned, there is no excusing her actions. No matter her justifications, the fact stands that her actions and lack thereof led to all of Ayano's mental hangups and apathy. It's no exaggeration to say that all of Ayano's biggest problems can be traced back to her mother being a shitty parent and letting her daughter suffer when she could have helped. By virtue of liking Ayano and wanting to see her succeed, given the pain her mother caused her daughter, I hate the mother. And if she tries to pull some bullshit like, it was for your own good, or I had taught you all I could, or you have to hurt to grow, or you had to move past it on your own, then I just might scream, because none of that could ever justify or be hampered by her simply hugging Ayano and telling her it's alright. In conclusion, Ayano's mom is a meanie poo-poo head, and I don't like her. And as for replacement badminton daughter Connie, she's currently on my shit list too, but at least she has a chance to escape from it. At this point in the story, we've been given hints about her sad backstory. Undoubtedly what will happen is that her sad backstory will be elaborated on, at which point she will score some sympathy points with the audience and me by proxy. Her main function as the rival is all well and good. Really, what sours me to her is her brutally antagonistic attitude toward Ayano, and one line in particular. On the one hand, that's all fine because it makes Connie into a baddie that you want Ayano to beat. I desperately want to see Ayano overcome Connie's overwhelming negativity, and her own by proxy. Connie makes me really want to see Ayano win, which I imagine you always want in your sports show. Thus, Connie functionally succeeds as a rival. On the other hand, that is literally the absolute worst thing someone could have said to Ayano, especially when said someone is a rival both in badminton and for mother's attention. That one line brought back to the surface all of Ayano's anger and despair and insecurities over herself and her failures, just as she was starting to get over them and have fun again. Put simply, she hurt the protagonist, and when a character's first major action is to maliciously hurt a character you like, chances are you're not going to like them all that much. At the end of the day, I would argue that everything about Ayano's mom and Connie is pretty effective writing. After all, it's unbelievably good at making me feel these really intense emotions, and it takes some writing chops to make that happen. But now that I'm feeling these emotions, I have to ask, what good is this doing me? What does it mean to hate a fictional character this much? Remember, this doesn't usually happen to me. Hell, I don't hate any real people this much. So, beyond the storytelling function of investing me further in the protagonist's plight, what good does it do me to feel this much hate toward fictional characters? Admittedly, I'm having a hard time thinking of an answer. This might be the one area where this video shows its prematurity. It's fairly obvious that Hanebado is building up to some sort of emotional catharsis with all of this. Whether this payoff will take the form of some incredible victory or reconciliation or both, I can't be sure. Maybe neither will happen, which would be a pleasant surprise, but in general, with any build-up comes payoff. This hatred is the build-up, and some payoff will probably come eventually, but could that payoff ever be worth it? I don't know about you, but personally, I like nice and happy things. I'm boring like that. I'd rather avoid feeling angry or sad or what have you if I can at all help it. I don't value feeling that down. Are these emotions teaching me anything? Am I learning valuable life lessons, or am I just being forced into a negative headspace for no good reason? Thanks, but I'd rather avoid feeling like that. If I'm going to be drowning in emotions while not learning anything, at least make those emotions nice. Happy, fun, laughing times are nice. You know, I like those. I'm not saying there's nothing to be learned from art that toys with your emotions. Just recently I saw Grave of the Fireflies in theaters, and that movie completely wrecked me emotionally. I was a mess leaving the theater. I could barely function and had to have someone else drive me home. But I don't regret that experience because I saw value in that film's portrait of wartime life. The hardships endured, the bad decisions made, the little pleasures that you can take comfort in along the way. That movie fucking hurt. But it stayed with me. What will stay with me after these negative feelings from Hanebado pass? What can this possibly result in, aside from cheap emotional catharsis? I don't know, but I don't have my hopes up. Alright, I realize all of that was pretty bad sounding, so let me reiterate that I really do like Hanebado. Visually, it's fantastic, and I'm super invested in the main characters. I just don't find any value in these negative emotions I'm feeling. Basically, I hate that this show has made me hate. Thanks for sticking through my ramble about Badminton the anime. If you've got thoughts, please leave a comment. Believe it or not, I still do enjoy reading them, even though I've built up a backlog of those because I've got scared of responding to some true story. If you like this video, stick around. I've got a really big project in the works that I've been writing for literal months longer than I anticipated. I'm over 10,000 words into a third draft, which I'm kind of happy with and not at all done with. Hopefully I'll be able to have that beast out by November. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you later.